Before I begin the video, I can see that many of you aren't subscribed, so I would appreciate it if you guys would subscribe. I also want to mention that this is something I always wanted to do, so I hope you enjoy it. Please remember, this is for fun. Jungkook's humbling day, a journey of self-discovery. It was another day in Jungkook's extravagant world. He woke up in his luxurious bedroom, sunlight softly filtering through the floor-to-ceiling windows. The view of the city skyline was spectacular, but today it felt like just another ordinary morning. Surrounded by designer clothes, the latest gadgets, and an impeccable room, Jungkook felt strangely bored. Despite the luxury, something seemed off. He scrolled aimlessly through his phone, uninterested in his usual routine of chauffeured rides, high-end shopping, and personal trainers. What's the point if everything comes so easily? He muttered to himself. Something inside him craved change. A sudden idea struck him. What if, for once, he ditched the chauffeur and experienced life like everyone else? He shot up from his bed, feeling a spark of excitement. Maybe he could do something different today, something out of his comfort zone. He quickly grabbed a sleek black designer jacket, paired it with ripped jeans, and laced up his limited edition sneakers. He checked himself out in the mirror, satisfied with his look. Today, he would explore the city on foot. No personal driver, no fancy rides, just him and the world. And he left his mansion without looking back, feeling strangely liberated. The city streets were bustling with people, cars honking, and the distant chatter of strangers. Jungkook had rarely walked through the city like this, on his own, without the comfort of tinted windows and private security. His surroundings felt new, unfamiliar. Every step made him more aware of the world around him, the details that had once been hidden behind the walls of privilege. As he approached a nearby bus stop, he noticed a few people staring, recognizing him but unsure whether to approach. Jungkook awkwardly smiled, shoving his hands into his jacket pockets, feeling slightly out of place. Waiting at the bus stop was an entirely new experience for Jungkook. He stood stiffly, unsure of what to do, as others casually checked their phones or chatted with friends. Is this how everyone travels? He thought, suddenly feeling out of touch. When the bus finally arrived, he watched as people filed in one after the other. Following suit, Jungkook climbed aboard, but as he reached for his pocket, a wave of panic hit him. He'd forgotten his wallet. In his world, he never had to think about these things. Feeling embarrassed, he tried to explain to the driver, but before he could finish, a kind stranger behind him offered to cover the fare. Feeling both grateful and embarrassed, Jungkook thanked the stranger with a shy smile and quickly found a seat by the window. As the bus rumbled down the street, he gazed out at the passing city, the normalcy of it all sinking in. There was a certain freedom in riding the bus, blending into the world unnoticed. He observed people going about their day, students heading to school, workers with briefcases, and mothers carrying groceries. It was an entirely different world from the one he lived in, where every moment was carefully planned, every move controlled. Here, people seemed more grounded, more connected to the world around them. As the bus moved along, a young girl sitting next to Jungkook caught his attention. She was happily scribbling in a small sketchbook, her bright eyes focused on her drawing. Curious, Jungkook leaned over and complimented her work, making her giggle. She proudly showed him her drawing of a cat, and Jungkook's heart softened. The simple interaction made him smile. In that moment, he realized that these small, ordinary exchanges were something he had missed out on. He wasn't a celebrity on this bus. He was just a guy sharing a moment with a stranger. When the bus reached his stop, Jungkook stepped off and found himself on a busy city street. The sun was shining, the air was filled with the scent of street food, and vendors called out to passers-by. For the first time in a long while, Jungkook felt truly present. He wasn't rushing from one schedule to another. He wasn't surrounded by managers or fans. It was just him, walking through the city, observing the world as it was. He wandered aimlessly, stopping occasionally to admire street performances and the vibrant energy of the city. At one point, he paused in front of a street vendor selling handmade jewelry. The vendor, an elderly woman, smiled warmly at him, offering a simple bracelet. Jungkook hesitated for a moment, unsure of how to respond, but then decided to buy it. He didn't need the bracelet. He had more expensive accessories back home. But something about the woman's smile and the personal touch of her craft made the moment special. As he slipped the bracelet on, he felt connected to the city in a way he never had before. As the day continued, Jungkook felt lighter, as if a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. He wasn't just the rich kid with endless options. Today, he was part of the everyday world, something he hadn't experienced before. Every small interaction, from the stranger paying for his bus fare to the elderly vendor's kind smile, reminded him that life was more than just luxury. It was about connection, about feeling present in the moment. Before heading back home, Jungkook found a quiet park where he could sit and reflect. The world felt different now, less about material things and more about the people and experiences that filled it. He smiled to himself, realizing that this adventure had opened his eyes in ways he hadn't expected. He didn't need luxury to feel rich. These little moments of kindness and connection were more valuable than anything money could buy. With a new sense of appreciation, Jungkook got up, ready to face his world again, but this time with a little more understanding. As Jungkook slowly made his way back home, he couldn't help but reflect on the day's events. The busy city streets felt different now, more alive and vibrant. He passed by families laughing together at food stalls, couples walking hand in hand, and street performers playing upbeat tunes for the crowds. All these little moments of joy, connection, and shared experience swirled around him like a whirlwind of energy he had never noticed before. While he had always been surrounded by luxury, today, he found something far more valuable: authentic human interaction. With every step, he felt his mindset shifting, appreciating these small moments that made life feel richer than any material possession ever could. He found himself stopping in front of a small street cafe. The aroma of fresh coffee filled the air as people sat on the outdoor patio, chatting casually. Normally, Jungkook would avoid such places, opting instead for exclusive restaurants or private lounges. But today was different. He stepped inside and was immediately greeted by the comforting warmth of the cozy space. Taking a seat by the window, he ordered a simple iced coffee. No special treatment, no VIP access, just like anyone else. As he sipped the coffee, he watched the world pass by outside, the city buzzing with life. As he sat in the cafe, his mind wandered to his earlier encounter on the bus. The kind stranger who had paid for his fare had left a lasting impression on him. In his world of endless wealth, small acts of kindness were often overshadowed by grand gestures. But this simple, thoughtful moment stuck with him. Jungkook decided he wanted to pay it forward. He got up from his seat, left a generous tip for the cafe staff, and made his way outside. As he wandered back toward the bus stop, he spotted a street musician playing a soft, melodic tune on a guitar. The crowd was small, but the music was beautiful. Without hesitation, Jungkook walked over and dropped some money into the musician's open guitar case. The musician looked up, surprised and grateful. Jungkook smiled warmly, nodding in appreciation of the music. It felt good to give without expecting anything in return, just a small act of kindness, like the one he had received earlier in the day. For the first time, he understood that these simple exchanges were far more fulfilling than anything money could buy. The sun had begun to set, casting an orange and pink hue over the city as Jungkook approached the familiar sight of his mansion. The grandeur of the tall gates and sprawling garden greeted him, but this time, he felt different. The luxury that had once felt so normal now seemed almost too much, detached from the genuine experiences he had just encountered. He took a moment to stand outside the gates, gazing up at the building. For the first time, he felt a desire to bring some of that raw, real-world energy into his life. Maybe it was time to step outside of the bubble a little more often. After all, he had learned so much from just a single day of living like everyone else. As he walked through the front door, the familiar scent of luxury greeted him. The polished floors, the perfectly arranged furniture, the quiet hum of the house staff working in the background. But this time, instead of heading straight for his room, he sat down in the large living room, feeling the weight of the day settle over him. He had entered this day looking for something different, and what he found was something he hadn't even known he needed: a connection to the world outside of wealth. With a soft smile, he took off his jacket and stretched out on the couch, feeling more grounded and humbled than ever before. As night fell, Jungkook got up and walked over to the large glass windows that overlooked the city. From here, he could see the same skyline that had greeted him that morning, but now it looked different. It wasn't just a collection of buildings and lights anymore. It was filled with people, stories, and moments of everyday life that he had been too disconnected from before. He thought about the bus ride, the stranger's kindness, the street vendor's warm smile, and the street musician's soulful tune. Each moment felt like a small piece of a larger puzzle, helping him understand that life was more than just luxury and status. It was about connection, humility, and the small, seemingly insignificant moments that made life feel rich in ways money never could. Jungkook leaned his forehead against the cool glass, closing his eyes for a moment as he let the events of the day wash over him. He had set out looking for a change, but what he found was something deeper, a sense of appreciation for the simple, meaningful interactions that often went unnoticed in his world. With a quiet smile, he turned away from the window and headed to his room, feeling a newfound sense of balance. Tomorrow would be different too, he'd make sure of it. He would start small, taking a bit of the real world with him into his everyday life, making sure to stay grounded in the things that truly mattered. The day had started with boredom, but it ended with a sense of fulfillment that Jungkook hadn't expected. What he had discovered wasn't just about stepping outside of his comfort zone. It was about seeing the world with new eyes, eyes that could now appreciate the beauty in the ordinary. He realized that there was so much more to life than material wealth, and he promised himself that he would carry this lesson with him into the future. As he drifted off to sleep that night, he felt lighter, more connected, and ready to embrace the world, not as the spoiled rich kid, but as someone who had learned to see the value in the little things. This story takes Jungkook through a full day of self-discovery, humility, and reflection. It explores how even the most luxurious lives can find richness in the simple, meaningful interactions with the world, offering Jungkook a new perspective on life beyond material wealth. If you enjoyed this little fun twist, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to like this video and share it with fellow fans who love BTS as well. Your support helps us create more engaging content that celebrates our love for all K-pop. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to bringing you more exciting fun content.